Now, in our top story, ad hoc committee investigating allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the justice system will deal with public submissions today. Accountability Now, African Policing Civilian Oversight Forum, Gun-Free South Africa and Institute for Security Studies. SABC News reporter Bulelani Phillip is there. Bulelani, this should be an interesting one. Talk to us about what we're expecting out of this.
Good morning to you, Leanne, and to the viewers at home. Of course, this is the last lap of the committee. Just less than 10 days in order to finalize some of the outstanding witnesses before it starts drafting its report, which must be submitted or finalized at least by the 22nd of February. Of course, because Paul O'Sullivan was not able to appear physically before the committee is going to be using the next 2 days to do some oral hearings on the submissions that were handed in to the committee by the public. In total, there were about 180 submissions that were submitted to the committee. But after scrutiny, the committee realized that some of those complaints or submissions that were made were actually service delivery related issues that were actually now just forwarded to some of the line departments that were affected. And the outstanding submissions that were made to the committee, they were categorized into two, and there were written submissions that will be just considered by the committee. But the people that will be called over the next 2 days bring in complex issues that the committee would like to probe them on, particularly around the issues that the committee is investigating. So that should be an interesting, show by the public, institutions that will be actually be presenting today and tomorrow. Of course, you must remember that Parliament has actually been embarking on this process of being a people's parliament, and it was incumbent on the committee to ensure that part of their investigations does include the submissions from the public. Of course, as you've indicated, civil society organizations like Accountability Now, the Institute for Security Studies, as well as Gun-Free South Africa will be among some of the institutions that will be presenting today. Another one later in the afternoon, interestingly enough, Patricia Mashale, who some sees as a whistleblower on some of the alleged corruption happening within the police. But on the other hand, some of the people believe that she is an information peddler. So those are some of the interesting issues that we should expect today. For the public as well as some of our viewers, proceedings of the committee start at 11 o'clock later this afternoon, and you can follow those on our social media pages. Leanne, back to you in studio.
All right, so we wait to see what comes out of that one. Thank you so much. Let's move on to our next story now.